Members, the House Leader of Third Party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. During last fall's legislative session, the now Minister for Post-Secondary Education said our children are, quote, the most precious resource we have, end quote. I agree with the Minister on that, but this government's actions do not reflect the rhetoric, Mr. Speaker. The reality is public schools in British Columbia have been chronically underfunded for years, with school boards across the province continuing to face budget shortfalls as a result of this government's policies. Vancouver School Board is facing a $5.9 million shortfall this year, forcing the board to choose between actions like combining high school classes together, moving or discontinuing valuable educational programs, or relocating students to cover the deficit. The much smaller Saanich School District is looking for $1.7 million, likely to be funded out of reserves, Mr. Speaker. This progressive government, or so-called progressive government, promised to do better for our children than the 16 years that they complained about the previous government. Mr. Speaker, my question is to the Premier, will he reverse the more than 2 decades of underfunding in our public education system?
Government House Leader.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker, and I want to thank the member for his question. The member will know, and we have and numerous times in this House spoken about the importance of education for our kids. I know the Minister of Education finds that the most important role that she has and most important role as both as a mom as well as Minister of Education is making sure that all kids in our communities have the funding that's needed. The member will know that funding per student has gone up by 24% since 2017. That's a significant increase in funding. We've seen significant funding for building new schools, making sure that we have educators available, and we're going to continue to do that, Honourable Speaker, because we know that investments in our children are investments in the future.
Member supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As we just heard in this response, the government has continually claimed that they fixed the problems in public education, but the reality that many school districts are facing in this province reflect a completely different reality. It's essentially an austerity system in our public education system. We often hear about the record investments that have been made under this BC NDP government, but those, Mr. Speaker, are disingenuous. The court required many of those investments to be made, and a new agreement with teachers, an important investment, absolutely, in our teachers, does nothing to support the replacing the aging tech and teaching materials that many of our school districts are facing, and many other structural deficits that they're facing every single budget year, including this year. In 2018, this government's review panel report recommended changes to the funding model. In the first couple of years, there was a flurry of activity, but in the last couple of years, Mr. Speaker, there's been silence. Nothing in the minister's mandate letter, nothing in the service plan about those recommendations. It appears to not be a priority for this Premier. The members of this government know that we need to do better, given how frequently they eviscerated the official opposition now for underfunding education when they sat on this side of the House. The needs of students and teachers need to be put first, Mr. Speaker. We've seen this Premier roll out the Homes for People plan and the Jobs for Workers plan. When are we going to see a public education for students plan, Mr. Speaker?
Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and there was a lot there, and I want to thank the member for the question. Yes, we're very proud of the Homes for People plan that we've launched. We're very proud of our Future Ready plan that was announced just recently, making sure that all people in British Columbia, young, those that are transitioning in the workplace, have the opportunities to get the skills they need to be able to be competitive in the market. Honourable Speaker, I think it's important for the member to know, which I've already highlighted, that we've increased the budget for education by 24%, per student funding by 24% since 2017. I'm glad he highlighted the agreement that we had with the teachers, Honourable Speaker, because those investments are about making sure we support our educators to make sure that we are able to provide the highest level of education. Now, the member will also know that when we formed government, we were the second worst when it came to funding in the country, and now we are the second best, Honourable Speaker, and our goal is always to continue to improve that.